In today's video, we're talking about a pen, but not a fountain pen. Today we are looking at the Tom's Studio Lumos. This is a refillable pen, like fiber tips. It's got a bunch of different tips. I'll show you all of that. I'll show you how it works. We'll do some writing. We'll talk about pros and cons, all that kind of stuff. If you are interested in Tom's Studio products, please use the link in the video description here, where you can get a discount on Tom's Studio products and send a little bit of support in the way of my channel. So please like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. Please consider becoming a member of this channel, where for a small monthly fee, you'll get early access to my videos, priority comments, and eventually some members only Q&As. But right now, let's check out this very interesting pen from Tom's Studio. So here is the Lumos, and this is the Lumos Pro Duo tip from Tom's Studio. This is the midnight finish, which is a slightly matte finish, which I love. I also have the Wren in this finish, and I adore it. It feels amazing. Today, quick review of this pen. This is not a fountain pen. This is a fiber tip pen, but it comes with a couple of cool features. So let's just quickly run through it all. So it's an anodized aluminium, and it's got this lovely matte finish on it, as I have said. It is compatible, the filling system is compatible with all dye-based ink and some pigmented inks, like Tom's Studio number 60, for instance, which is a pigmented ink. But it is designed to use fountain pen ink with a fiber tip. Now, if we look in the packaging, which is very nice as well, pull off that front cap and you lift to reveal, and then you get some things. So like this is the full Lumos, the tips. And you get 11 different tips here. So we have a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, 0.8, which is what I've got in here at the moment, and a 1 millimeter, and they're fine liner tips. Then we have a brush tip, a chisel tip, and a bullet tip. And then we have writing tips in the 0.3 and the 0.5. Now I've got the 0.8 in here. I use this for sketching. And so I have a 0.8 in here, but I'm going to also put the 0.3. The 0.3 I want to be able to use for all the line work, and the 0.8 sort of more for shading and filling in. A lot of the work I'm doing at the moment is very stark black and white, so this works really, really nicely. But having these tips means that you have options. They're not the easiest things to replace on the go. That's not what they're designed for. But so you get your little setup. And so this has the ability to hold 2, and we're going to put another one in here today. I'll show you how that works. And you end up with 2 different writing tips available to you at any point, and different ink reservoirs as well. Now you can either have them back to back like that and be writing and turn, which is sort of how I will probably be using it. Or you can have them sort of more like ready to go, one sort of more under the cap, they're ready to go. I think you can also get extra caps if you wanted to put them back to back and cap both. But this basic setup I think is really nice. Yes, it's a simple system. I'll show you how it all works. It also comes with a 3 milliliter little bottle of ink there, and I have some replacement reservoirs here as well. This is the what captures the ink and holds the ink in suspension, little like wick reservoir systems there. And there's a ton of information in the packaging. I'm going to do a fill of it in a quick moment after I've sort of finished talking about the pen. So yes, as I said, it opens up at the middle here, and it opens up the cap there, giving you the option for 2 caps there. Now you can't put them in either way. It doesn't sort of line up. So choose which one you want to put where, and you can move them around until you get your setup correct for you. And then, as I said, the cap goes on the top there, or you can put that cap on the end while you're using it. It's a long pen. It's very comfortable. I enjoyed it a lot. I really enjoy the form and function of this pen, and I enjoy playing around with it. Which I probably shouldn't do as much, but everything is very secure. There are O-rings at the top of all the threads, and it's because it's a metal pen, it's quite robust, but because it's aluminium, it's not super heavy. This is a size comparison. See, it's longer there than the Lamy Safari, much longer there than the Wren. The Wren is designed as a small pocket pen, but when we put them into writing modes, that comes out and slips back into there, and we'll take that cap off. You see that, the Wren is a very usable length, but the Lumos is still slightly longer. And then if you post the Lamy Safari, you see sort of how that fits in. And of course, as I said, this can slip on the end there as well. And that's if you had it at full form. The shorter form of these obviously is much shorter. Still usable, but much shorter. So what are the specific dimensions? Well, it's 153 millimeters when it's at full length. It's 147 when it's uncapped there. 161 if you post the cap on the end. It is about 10 millimeters all the way down, and it weighs about 20 grams. And then if you take that to shorter length, it becomes about 58 millimeters, which is still, as I said, usable, but I prefer this in its full form, which is, as I said, about 147 millimeters. So to show you how to do the fill, I thought I'd change the angle up just a little bit. Now I'm going to put down a piece of paper just because I, in case there's any sort of spillage. So this is a lovely little sample size vial that works really well for these products. Now, I already have the 0.8 millimeter tip in this end, but I want to put the 0.3 millimeter tip in this end. So you can see there's like this brass, little screw section on the top there. When you unscrew that, out comes the entire unit, right? So you've got the ink reservoir here, or the wick, the holder, and then the brass top. Now that also screws off. If you don't screw that down tight enough, when you go to unscrew the pen, you'll just take that off and not be able to get out the entire unit here. So you want to take that off there. There are many ways you can do this. This is just how I do it as an example. And then you can take that off, and that's where the the reservoir sort of goes in there. Now, as I said, I was going to use the 0.3 millimeter tip here. So I'm going to select that tip out of the box, and then that gets put down into that top part of the holder there. Nice and secure. It goes in all the way there like that. Now, you then take this wick section and you insert that into there. Then that is ready to be inked up. Now, what I like to do is, to less handling, is I like to put the brass on there now. Nice and secure down. And then you simply take that wick and you drop it into the ink there. Now you see the ink work its way up to here. Now I wait till I can see it on the tip. It means I've got a nice sort of full fill. There we go. And I take that out. Now there's not a whole lot of ink is going to stay around on this wick section, but I will just wipe that down. And I'm ready to reconstruct the pen. And I simply slide that into the body there, screw that down. And because I've let the ink come all the way through to the tip, it's ready to write. So let's do a writing sample with these now that you've seen it filled and put back together. Okay, so as you can see, I have the 0.3 and the 0.8 tips here. They are, noticeably different. So the Tom's Studio Lumos, and this is the 0.3 fine liner tip. And then we have the 0.8 fine liner tip. So they write really nicely. They're smooth. I wouldn't say they're wet. Yes, this is fountain pen friendly ink. It's a dye-based ink. This is the Tom Studio Deep Black. But you can see they write well. This paper is, this is fountain pen friendly paper, but you can see it's putting down quite a lot of that ink. And we get a little bit of bleed through sort of happening there. On higher quality paper, on sketch quality paper, things like that, you don't see so much of that. But this is fairly basic paper, but you get the gist of sort of what they're doing. It's a really fun writing system. It's a really fun pen, and I I really enjoy it. So let's quickly talk business. This pen retails in Australia for 192 Australian dollars. On the Tom Studio website, it is £95. Now, if you use the link in my video description, you can get a discount on Tom's Studio products, eligible products. But check it out and, you know, throw a little bit of support in the way of my channel as well. Okay, now let's talk some pros and cons. First con is that it's not super convenient for changing. As you saw when I did the fill, you've got to take it all apart, drop it all back into... You can clean the reservoirs and the tips, but, you know, like, it's best to sort of use it with one ink and then get extras. And the other issue is things like wear and tear. The tips, you know, these are fiber tips and chisel tips and things like that. You are going to wear them down. They are not as resilient as, say, a fountain pen nib or something like that. So, you know, while they are refillable and reusable, there are some ongoing costs. Things like, yeah, the reservoirs, the tips, things like that. But what are my pros? Well, firstly, the variety of tips. You get 11 tips in that package, fine liners, writing tips, as well as things like the brush tip and the bullet tip and things like that. They're very smooth, easy to write with. They're, you know, they're consistent, which is really nice. And while I did say, you know, they will wear, I don't find they wear out super quickly in my experience so far with them. And especially with things like, you know, the Wren, which I've used the same tip now for a year, something, you know, it's great. I love the feel of this matte material. That's a massive pro to me. Tactile-wise, this is really good. Also, the tolerances, how tight on those O-rings all these bits are screwed down. It keeps them from drying out, but also it makes a nice minimal sort of line to it. It's also easy to get the parts. Let's be real here. You want to buy refills, you want to buy tips, all that kind of stuff, you want to buy the reservoirs, you can get them all. You can get them from places like Tom Studio, but also there's a couple of retailers in Australia and around the world who do also retail the parts and stuff for these. So at the moment, they're easy to get. But I do suggest that you do have a couple on hand, you know, because if you do, you know, want to change inks or something, it's worth doing. So I really think there's a lot to love with the Tom Studio products. They're well thought out, they're well designed, they're well made, and they have features that a lot of other pens don't have. Are they perfect? No. But are they functional and are they fun to use? Absolutely. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, and consider becoming a member of this channel. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.